everyone, welcome to another edition of Libris Arioch with me, Arioch. Now in today's episode, we're going to take a little walk through history. Because if you're like me and a history buff, you like to go to the original sources. And what we're going to look at today is actually the first magazine that was actually called a magazine. It's the Gentleman's Magazine. We're going to be looking at this publication. It ran for over 200 years. It was founded in 1731 by Edward Cave. He was a printer who was born in 1691 and he died in 1754. Now the magazine went on for years after his death, obviously, well over 100 years after his death. When you read these things, you actually get like a first-hand glimpse of what it was like to live back then. Now Edward published the Gentleman's Magazine under a pseudonym, which was Sylvanus Urban. A lot of people in the 18th century, a lot of authors and others, used pseudonyms. Mostly they were taken from Greek or Roman myths for some reason. And especially when they would write in letters to the editor, they would sign them using Greek or Roman figures that reflected whatever their viewpoint was in that letter. For example, if they were writing something about mathematics, they might sign it Archimedes, when it was actually a mathematician at some college. It was just some quirky thing that they used to do back then. Edward actually coined the term magazine to mean a publication that presented the arts and leisure and news of the day, which is exactly what he did. Now at the end of the video, I'm going to show you close-ups of what's in the magazines. I'm going to try and be careful with them because they are old. Now at the end of the year, you could always buy a complete year-bound edition of the magazine, in addition to getting these single issues at the booksellers or wherever they sold them. And they do list every place you can buy them. Now the reason I started getting into the Gentleman's Magazine was because in the very first volume, in the second issue in February, there is an article, actually it's just a paragraph, about Isaac Fawkes the magician and his amazing apple tree. I first learned of the existence of this paragraph by reading Houdini's Unmasking of Robert Houdin, where he actually quoted this. So now I have something that I read about when I was a kid in a Houdini book. How cool is that? Each issue came with a table of contents, which went on for a few pages. And again, I'm going to show you close-ups of these later. Now I have the two bound editions, 1731 and 1734. Now you may notice my little bookmarks here for the pages and the passages that are of interest to me, based on magic or oddities. There's some articles on fire breathers and things like that, UFOs, strange things in the sky, anything that interested me. But I also took pictures of those pages and those articles and scanned them so that I open these as little as possible for preservation purposes. I just put these back in here. They look kind of crappy. I just put these back in here for the purpose of the video. I have much nicer ones to mark my places, including a playing card. There you go. This one is the 1734 edition. And this is in fantastic condition. As you can see, it was originally belonged in a library. Let's look at the condition of this from 1734. The pages are still almost white. I mean, and in this, it's fascinating. You can read literally, what the kings, what royals of the world were doing. It also has the weather. You can look up the weather for those days. And a wide variety of authors contributed to these magazines, many of whom are very famous. Proceedings of the sessions of Parliament. They have, political reporting. They have agricultural reporting, even archaeological digs. They report on archaeological digs in here. And in the later issues, you can actually see where they would have the drawings of the sites. There's articles on Roman coins. There's articles on pretty much every subject under the sun. Marriages and deaths of eminent persons. Now, for the later editions and the single editions, such as this one from 1807, what I did was I put them in the archival protection, but I also wrote down, what exactly interested me pertaining to this particular issue. If I don't have anything written up there, the whole thing is interesting. But there's nothing in my particular sphere of interest that really jumps out. This issue from July of 1821 is particularly interesting because it has the obituary of Napoleon in it. Now think of the people that are sitting at their breakfast table and they get this in 1821 and read it and go, Napoleon died? What? Oh no. Or oh yay, it depends on your point of view. An original letter from George III to Earl Howe. I mean, these are things you can read and see history on TV or documentaries. But when you read the eyewitness accounts, it really brings it to life. Because for me, I just imagine like July of 1821. Abraham Lincoln could have been reading this. He could, because this was available in the States as well. There's also articles on exploration. Here's one about the magnetic pole. There's articles on scientific discovery. There's articles on just about everything you can imagine. Gemology. I read articles about geology. These things were a wealth of information for the day. They were the internet, the Google of the day. I mean, you would wake up and you would be able to read about everything. Here we go. What's this one say? Description of some ancient seals found in churches. Another thing they had a lot of was poetry, too. There was plenty of poetry. Literary intelligence, promotions. There was obituaries. They had prices of markets, prices of stocks. Tour of a foreigner in England and Scotland. All kinds of articles. To me, newspapers, magazines, anything like that you can read that's original and not a reprint or anything like that. To me, that is a time machine. That's how cool this stuff is, because you can just imagine what it was like. Naturally, the more successful the Gentleman's Magazine became, the more imitators popped up and the more other rival magazines popped up. I'm just going to show you one example, which could easily be mistaken for it, the London Magazine. And again, you're going to see close-ups of this later on. This one's from 1765, and on the Gentleman's Magazine, he always showed St. John's Gate, because that's where his office was. And on the London Magazine, we have a beautiful, beautiful etching of London from 1765. You can actually see what the city of London looked like in 1765. How cool is that? And this one has method of destroying wasps and hornets. The dreadful murder of Mr. Ogilvy, his wife and brother. Questions relating to the keeping of bacon. That's a burning question we all need answers to. See, bacon was popular even then. They also published an awful lot of letters to the editor, op-ed pieces. People would just send in their opinions on whatever subjects of the day. They also wrote reviews of the poems that were published in these magazines. It's just amazing. Now, later issues would include these gorgeous engravings. This happens to be a church in Kent. If I lived in the UK, I know one thing I would do, and that would be to look up these engravings, some of which were done by very famous artists. And I would go and check out what they look like now. Here we go. Roman group. A group of different examples of Roman writing that they found during an archaeological dig. Each day's price of stocks for October of 1807. I mean, these things are just amazing. Now, if you like this video, please click that like and subscribe button and get notifications so you can see whenever I post something new for you guys to check out. Okay, well, that does it for this week's edition of Ex Libris. Stick around to see some close-ups of these incredibly rare, incredibly old, incredibly amazing glimpses into history. Now, be sure to tune in next week for another edition of Ex Libris and check out the rest of my channel, because I also do videos on my antique adventures, on my magic, on handcuffs, you name it. I do a little bit of everything on this channel, and I hope you guys enjoy it.